everyone!
Hello, you've made it to the end of the week. Congratulations. So let's end it the right way. I'm Paolo del Rosario. Let's get you up to speed with some news that you could use right now.
Rise and shine, beautiful people. I'm Anne Asis-Carilo, TGIF. Let's make today unforgettable with good vibes, great company, and loads of inspiration.
Happy Friday! I'm Monique Tuzon. Your mornings are always more fun with us. Join us in the next hour and a half for stories and conversations that matter. So Friday, I think, is maybe my favorite day of the week. What about you guys?
Woo.
No
What's
comment?
that?
This is my happy dance. I always look forward to Friday. Woo! That means sleep. You get to sleep during the weekend.
We do?
Oh, you don't?
No.
How doesn't?
Oh, poor you.
No,
You
no.
catch up on some sleep.
Yeah, but then, it's
Okay.
always, Friday's always a fun time, except for when you're driving, unfortunately.
Yes,
Yeah,
that is so true.
I mean, if you're gonna fall asleep, don't fall asleep on the road if ever you are driving. And of course, make sure that you go out there. I don't know. Friday's always been one of those days wherein it's fun to be in if you're at where you need to be. If
Actually,
you're all
yes.
set and ready, and when you just
Actually.
could relax.
So let me take that back. Sundays are my favorite day of the week, not Fridays.
Sundays.
No, because Sundays there's no traffic. And I
Actually.
feel like Sundays are slow, so it's very
It's as
relaxing.
slow as you want it to be.
Yeah, I guess it depends on what you have planned over the weekend, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm looking at I'm thinking about my schedule right
You have
now.
a packed weekend?
Packed weekend?
No, yeah, but that's good. That's good. I mean, like
Yeah,
I
busy's
like
good.
I like moving on the weekends.
Okay.
You know, I found out something about today, March ano ba ngayon? Joy?
14.
March 14. So today is actually White Day. So it's something that they celebrate in Japan and other Asian countries. It happens a month after Valentine's Day, and the men reciprocate the gifts that the women received. Or the men reciprocate the gifts that the women gave them on Valentine's Day.
Wait, the men or the women?
No, the
'Cause guys
men.
normally give women stuff,
No,
right?
it's
So
the
now
other way
men-
around, the man. So, what did MJ give you no Valentine's Day?
Wala.
Wala! Oh, so wala
So
kang
he
i-reciprocate.
won't give anything. Wait, so what did your husband give you?
He got me, what did he buy me ba? I forgot. I think perfume. Yeah.
So you have to give him perfume now? Or
maybe,
cologne?
yeah. So there.
So you're the only one
guys,
celebrating White Day.
So to those who are watching, guys, whatever you receive from your girl on Valentine's Day, you have to reciprocate
Our camera
it
guys are
now.
like,
So si
no,
Joy was like, ano nga ba binigay ng
No daw.
asawa ko?
Ang mahal-mahal ng
It's like we don't
Valentine's
celebrate
Day, ah.
White Day here in the Philippines.
No, well, she didn't give because we had a sponsored stay over in Boracay in Belmont Hotel. Shout out to Belmont Hotel, and that was because of her connection. So
So you have
I
to
don't know, do I-
reciprocate that now. You gotta find us
you
another
gotta-
spot.
Yeah.
Or just buy a hotel and say it's sponsored.
buy a hotel,
Buy a
grabe.
hotel?
I mean a hotel room. Ay, yaman ni Paolo.
Grabe, sandali, buy a hotel?
pala.
Buy a hotel.
I mean a hotel.
Ano to, Monopoly?
Oh my God.
So the only countries
too
that do
early.
celebrate it are
Japan.
China, South Korea, Taiwan, and Vietnam.
Okay, so we're saved. Ladies,
Yeah.
don't
so,
expect
Yeah, but
anything
you
from
can
your
always-
guys.
but-
Guys, you are saved from
Yung
White
mga
Day.
Pinoy guys, so wala, they don't want.
No, but I'm also trying to figure out why it's called White Day.
I don't know nga eh.
Yeah, apparently it's related to sugar. I don't know.
Interesting.
I have no idea. Either way, it's because of their marketing white chocolate.
Oh, because normally people give
favorite
chocolates,
chocolates.
right, during Valentine's
So I
Day.
wonder if the guy should give the girls white chocolate.
Or guys should get white chocolates. I don't know, I'm a white chocolate guy. But anyway, we talked about the roads a while ago. I think we got to go straight
Yeah,
to
let's
it.
check this
That's
traffic.
right. Let's go check out the major roads in Metro Manila at this hour. Let us take a look at this situation along EDSA Quezon Avenue flyover. On the left side of your screens are vehicles going to Quiapo, and on the right side are vehicles bound for the Quezon Memorial Circle. As you can see, moderate to heavy traffic already. On the left side, if you are headed to the Quiapo area, on the opposite lane, still a good time to drive. Now, this time, let's take a look at the situation over at the EDSA White Plains area. On the left side is the southbound lane going to Shaw Boulevard, and on the right side is the northbound lane headed to Cubao. already busy on the left side of your screens. If you are headed to Makati or anywhere southbound, you are going to be slowing things down. On the opposite side, still a good time to drive. Now, the expanded vehicle number coding scheme is in full swing, guys. It's a Friday, so vehicles with license plates ending in 9 and 0 should be off the road right about now until 10 a.m. and again later from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m.
The International Criminal Court confirms it has custody of former President Rodrigo Duterte at its detention center in Scheveningen, The Hague, following his arrival in the Netherlands. ICC spokesperson Fadi El Abdullah clarifies Duterte was admitted to the facility after undergoing all the necessary medical checks to protect the health and well-being of the suspect. This comes after the former executive secretary, Salvador Medialdea, raised concerns about Duterte's whereabouts, saying their delegation was not informed of the specific hospital the former president was taken upon arrival. The ICC assured that due process is being observed and that in due time, initial court appearance will be scheduled for Duterte, who is facing crimes against humanity in connection with his administration's war on drugs. In a Facebook post, the Philippine Embassy in the Netherlands says Duterte was able to talk to Medialdea, one of his legal counsels, after the former president requested for a consular assistance through a call from the ICC. Duterte also sought a visit from a family member. In its latest statement, the ICC scheduled today Duterte's appearance before pre-trial Chamber 1 of the court at 2 p.m. at The Hague, 9 p.m. Philippine time. Now let's find out what the weather is going to be like this Friday. Paolo has today's forecast from Weather HQ. Take it away, Pao.
Thanks, Mo. Let's take a look at the weather today. Locally first, today the easterlies are the dominant weather system affecting the country. It'll affect the whole country. As you can see over here, the easterlies are the winds which are coming from the east, which will bring cloudy skies and sky rain showers and thunderstorms, particularly over the eastern Visayas region. Now, areas within these regions should always be prepared for intermittent rainfall and possible localized thunderstorms. Now, for the rest of the country, the easterlies will lead to warm and humid conditions. As we take a look at eastern Visayas once again, it will lead to warm and humid conditions, so prepare for a hot day with high temperatures, especially in lowland areas. People are advised to stay hydrated and take precautions to avoid heat-related illnesses such as heat exhaustion or heat stroke. Now, speaking of the heat, let's see how that figures in today, because here's the latest heat index forecast from Pag-asa, which provides an important indication of how temperature feels to the human body when humidity is taken into account. Now, areas currently in the danger zone include Dagupan, Pangasinan, which will experience a heat index of 44 degrees Celsius, while Cuyo, Palawan, and Cotabato City are both facing a heat index of 42 degrees Celsius today. Now, these temperatures indicate extremely hot conditions. This means that with the high humidity levels in the area, the temperature feels much hotter than the actual air temperature. Now, prolonged exposure to these conditions can significantly increase the risk of heat-related illnesses such as heat exhaustion and heat stroke. Now, residents are advised to take extra precautions, including staying indoors during the peak heat hours, drinking plenty of fluids, water in particular, and wearing light and breathable clothing. Now, areas under extreme caution with a heat index of 41 degrees Celsius include San Jose, Occidental Mindoro, Puerto Princesa, Palawan, Legazpi, Albay, Virac, Catanduanes, Ginobatan, Albay, and Rojas, Capiz. Other locations under extreme caution with a heat index of at least 40 degrees Celsius are Aparay, Cagayan, Baler, Aurora, Coron, Palawan, Iloilo City, Tacloban City, Leyte, and Zamboanga del Norte. Now, these areas are also experiencing oppressive heat conditions where the combination of high temperature and the humidity can make outdoor activities particularly dangerous. So it is important for these individuals in these areas to stay hydrated and avoid strenuous outdoor activities during the hottest parts of the day and seek shade whenever possible to prevent heat-related heat issues. Now let's take a look at our sea conditions where there are no gale warnings currently affecting the country. Now with no gale warning in effect, that means sailing is generally safe for vessels across the country. However, sailors and fishermen and other maritime activities are advised to remain vigilant. It is important to continuously monitor the weather updates as conditions can rapidly change, especially in areas prone to sudden shifts in weather patterns. Now always prioritize safety when navigating at sea. That's it for Weather HQ at the moment. Back to you, girls.
Thank you for that update, Pao. Now, in other local news, a policewoman looking to file a case against Duterte's partner, Hanilet Avancenia. That is after Avancenia hit the officer with her phone during the former president's arrest. PNP said the police was hurt and had a head injury. Avancenia will likely face direct assault charges.
Authorities reveal Hanilet Avancenia refused to board the plane going to The Hague with Duterte during his arrest. On BNC's Point, DILG Secretary John Vic Remulla explains the moment Avancenia threw a fit with the police.
I think that was the time that they were informed that he was going to be brought to the plane already. And the weird thing is that she was offered to ride the plane with him.
You're talking about the partner, Hanilet?
Yes, she was offered and she refused. And when he was being asked to go to the plane, she suddenly threw a fit.
The follow-up between President Marcos and Vice President Sara Duterte on the spotlight again, following the arrest of Vice President Sara Duterte's father, Rodrigo Duterte. A document obtained by Politico shows the president assured VP Sara in writing that the government would not assist the International Criminal Court in its investigation into the bloody war on drugs. But PBBM's position shifted after his political alliance with VP Sara collapsed last year. President Marcos said the government did not provide documents to aid the investigation, but he explains authorities, quote, could not refuse Interpol, end of quote, when it requested assistance in executing the ICC warrant for the ex-president's arrest.
Duterte supporters continue their prayer rally in Davao City. The supporters offered candlelight and prayers in support of the arrested former chief executive. Meantime, some 5,000 crowd held simultaneous programs in other parts of Mindanao. Additional policemen were deployed to ensure security.
Interior Secretary John Vic Remulla says Malacanang has no contact with the International Criminal Court. Speaking with BNC's On Point, Remulla explains this is the reason why they were not able to prepare for the arrest warrant they received from the court early morning of March 11. He adds the core team who took charge in ensuring the orderly enforcement of the arrest order include President Bongbong Marcos, Defense Secretary Gilbert Teodoro, National Security Advisor Eduardo Año, and himself. Remulla adds
The red notice came at 3 a.m. Tuesday morning. I received it 3 a.m. Actually, General Marbil and PCTC received it, forwarded to me, and I forwarded it to the President. But the President woke up at 6:30. Then he said, okay, set the wheels into motion. So we deployed everyone. Then I was in the palace by 9 a.m.
Remulla adds maximum tolerance was observed as he believes the Duterte family was then in a state of shock.
Totoo yung nakakawa kasi matanda na eh. Kaya nga all kid gloves were used in handling him. Nakakawa naman talaga. If you see an 80-year-old man, or about to turn 80 this March 28, in a wheelchair, it is hard not to feel empathy for the man. But there is also the rule of law that must be upheld. And we chose that over the empathy which was needed from us.
As for President Marcos' reaction, this is what the Interior Secretary had to say.
The exact words were, there's no reason to be happy. There's no reason to celebrate. Those were his exact words.
And how did you feel when he said that?
I think he remembered the days of 39 years ago when they whisked him out of the palace. And I think he felt a sense of deja vu or a sense of trepidation in him that something that happened to him, he's doing to someone else. He really didn't want to do it. You saw his voice during the press con. He was very tentative. He really didn't want to do it. It just thrust upon him. He's a gentle, very gentle person, and it's not his nature to do these things.
And he did it because?
He did it because he had to uphold the rule of law.
The Supreme Court gives the non-extendable period of 24 hours to respondents in the petitions filed by the Duterte siblings to explain why a writ of habeas corpus should not be issued for the arrested former President Rodrigo Duterte. The respondents include Executive Secretary Lucas Bersamin, Interior Secretary John Vic Remulla, and PNP Chief Major General Francisco Marbil. The High Tribunal also ordered the consolidation of the separate petitions filed by Davao City Representative Paolo Duterte and his siblings Sebastian and Veronica Duterte.
Even after her impeachment at the House of Representatives, Vice President Sara Duterte remains the top pick for the 2028 presidential race. That is based on the latest Pulse Asia survey. 39% says they will vote for Duterte if elections will be held today. Senators Raffy Tulfo and Grace Poe are the second and third choice. For the vice presidential race, Tulfo is the top choice. Next in line are Poe and Senator Robin Padilla.
Re-electionist Senator Bong Go is the big winner in Pulse Asia's latest survey. Go now holds the top spot in the survey conducted from February 20 to 26, days before the House of Representatives impeached Vice President Sara Duterte. He went up 7.7 points from the last survey in January. Another re-electionist, Senator Bato de la Rosa, jumped to rank 4 to 7 from 7 to 14. Re-electionist Senator Amy Marcos, who lost more than 12 points. She is still out of the Magic 12.
In the party-list race, a survey shows old and familiar groups are expected to grab slots at the lower house. According to the latest Pulse Asia survey, party lists such as ACT-CIS, Senior Citizens, Tingong, Uswag, Ilonggo, and 4Ps have a chance of securing 3 seats each. 6 party list groups have a chance of securing 2 seats each. These include the Duterte Youth, FPJ Panday Bayanihan, Ako Bicol, and One Rider. Progressive party list groups like Bayan Muna, Gabriela, ACT Teachers, and Nakbayan also made the list.
The COMELEC has dismissed the second disqualification case against ACT-CIS party list representative Erwin Tulfo. The poll body explains the petitioner was unable to submit all the mandatory requirements for the case. Lawyer Bertini Kausing has sought the disqualification of the broadcaster over his libel conviction in 2008. Tulfo is running for senator in the midterm elections.
Now on to world news. U.S. ceasefire deal between Ukraine and Russia is showing some cracks. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said Russia's Vladimir Putin is secretly preparing a rejection of the ceasefire proposal. Zelensky adds Russia is laying out conditions to either delay the deal or stop it altogether. On Thursday, Putin thanked U.S. President Donald Trump, but stressed that many details still needed to be sorted out in the ceasefire deal. Any delay would give Russia more time to push out the last Ukrainian forces out of Western Russia.
Over in sports, TNT Tropang Giga and Barangay Ginebra San Miguel are set to renew their rivalry in the PBA Commissioner's Cup Finals. The Championship Series begins tonight at 7:30 p.m. at the Mall of Asia Arena in Pasay City. Both teams are battling for the top prizes conference for the second straight time. Last conference, the Tropang Giga defeated the Gin Kings in 6 games to complete a two-peat in the Governor's Cup. Meanwhile, another masterclass from the pole vault king Armand Amondo Duplantis in his home country of Sweden. Duplantis reigned supreme in the Mondo Classic by clearing 6.05 meters early this morning, Philippine time. The world record holder / budding pop star is looking to defend his title at the World Indoor Championships next week. As for EJ Obiena, Asia's best pole vaulter, missed on a podium finish at the Mondo Classic, settling for 8th place to wrap up his indoor season campaign. And in the NBA, a close call for New York Knicks after a thrilling overtime win against the Portland Trail Blazers. The Knicks completed the great escape at the Madison Square Garden by a point, 114 to 113. Rather, that's at the Moda Center. Mikal Bridges sealed the deal with a game-winning 3 in the extension period. The Knicks now have won 2 straight and are 3rd in the East. The Trailblazers are on a 5-game losing skid and are 13th in the West.
Former President Rodrigo Duterte's arrest last Tuesday sparked extreme reactions from his supporters, and hosts Vong Navarro and Kim Chu were not spared from criticisms. The two were accused of alluding to Duterte when they used the term, or the popular term, "the serve" during their noontime show. Vong took to X to clarify that he was only following a script, a photo of which he posted with the tweet. Kim likewise says she simply read her spiels. She also calls for kindness and good vibes.
Experiment 626 is back to cause mayhem. Disney has finally released the trailer for the live-action reimagined film of the 2002 animated classic Lilo and Stitch. This new take stars a newcomer and includes many of the iconic scenes from the original film. Here's a look.
We have apprehended a dangerous experiment. Where is he?
He escaped.
He's trying to find the police cruisers.
He took the red one.
What hideous planet is caught in your crosshairs?
Shooting star! I wish for a friend. Like a best friend.
What the hell?
He's so cute and fluffy.
He is your responsibility. Got it.
We promise.
Yeah.
Get down from there.
Look like an angel.
No. Control him. Hey, what are you doing? No. Dogs on the table.
You sure that's a dog?
Yeah.
Rough.
Ew. We are not keeping this thing.
Ohana means family. Family means nobody gets left behind.
Or forgotten.
Stitch bad.
Sometimes family isn't perfect. That doesn't mean they aren't good. That's close. I don't think you're supposed to drink that.
Agent Cobra Bubbles. We have a blue dog to catch.
No, wait!
No. I'm gonna give you to the count of 3, Stitch. 1.
Oh my
so
God,
cute.
I have goosebumps watching. That looks amazing.
Yeah,
like
that
the
looks
casting.
really nice.
And I wish Stitch was real. Stitch is so cute in the
So
movie.
cute. How
They did
can
a
he
great
be
job.
dangerous? He's so cute.
Oh, see, I
Look
mean,
at
like,
that.
you know, it just kills me knowing that you said 2002.
I
animated
know.
film. I was 12.
Oh my gosh. I think I was 10.
I was 12 when that
Oh
came
my
out.
goodness.
That was crazy.
Nah, but the movie looks fantastic. The
And
trailer
it
looks
looks so
spot on. Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
I'm so excited for this
And I
live
think
action.
it's a throwback movie because, well, when we throwback movie, I think it's taking place in the 2000s because
Yeah.
there was a CD.
Yeah.
I don't think kids know what CDs are nowadays.
I know. Oh my gosh, we're that old?
You stick the CD into the thing and then it comes out. I'm like, oh my gosh, what
I
year is it?
remember when I was in high school, I'd used to LimeWire all the songs
my
and burn it
gosh.
on the CD and make like
Oh my
different
God,
mixtapes
LimeWire.
And it gave
for
you-
all my drives.
And it gave your computer all these illnesses.
I know.
Grabe, buti ba kayo LimeWire? It was a different thing for me way
Floppy,
back.
no, that's not
Power
floppy
Records.
disk.
No, we actually had to record the cassette tape. You record the
yeah.
songs on the radio.
Yeah, I remember
so
that.
you always choose a radio station where the DJ won't talk over the song, but you can record the entirety of the track.
I
Mixtape.
remember that.
Back in the day.
Back in the day,
Yeah.
I mean, like, whew, what a time. Tell me about vinyl records.
Vinyl records, yeah. I know. I'm so sorry. I know all those things.
Oh my gosh. But then, yeah, I mean, like, look, it's such a throwback, Lilo and Stitch. Well, at least to us.
So excited for this movie.
There are scenes that look exactly what they did back then. So I'm excited for the new generation to enjoy it like we did.
I know.
Yeah.
My
But
goodness.
they don't have what they used to have. When they promoted Lilo and Stitch in 2002, they inserted Stitch into trailers of other Disney movies.
Oh, that is
I
nice.
remember.
He would come up in a Little Mermaid.
Yeah.
He would come up in Sleeping Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah.
And on
And,
Disney Channel commercials too and
Yeah,
stuff.
so they're not going that route this time, but still, really excited
No,
for
he was
it.
in the Super Bowl. They plugged him there.
Yeah, but that's not Disney. Yeah.
Plugging
All
him
right,
in.
so when we come back, we get an up-close shot with the state of photography through the eyes of three talented young Filipino photographers. After the break, it's a beautiful day. We'll be right back. And welcome back. You're still watching It's a Beautiful Day. Now, this Women's Month, we are featuring three young Filipino photographers making an impact through their photography. We take a closer look at how these talented women see the world and ask them about how they feel about the current state of photography here in the Philippines. Say hello to Geela Garcia, Lisa David, and Ennuh Tiu. Spelled like henna, but when Enna, right?
Yes.
Ennuh Tiu. It's a beautiful day, girls. Thank you so much for joining us here today.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so let us start off first with your origin story in photography, because it feels like, I was looking through all your works, it feels like it's so purposeful. It's so easy right now to take photos and so easy right now to just go out there and shoot, which is really the advice you give other people, but then you have a different thrust, it feels like. Let's start off with you first. Can you tell us a bit about your origin story and a bit of your advocacy when it comes to your craft?
So hello, good morning. I'm Geela Garcia. I'm a photographer and journalist. So I started with photography because in college I was one of the campus journalists in Matanglawan Ateneo. And then it really started because I went to protest. I saw how I saw the issues that were being protested on the ground, and yeah, I cover stories on food sovereignty, women, climate change, and the environment.
You know, I love that origin story because the running joke, especially with people from Ateneo, hindi sila nagpo-protest eh. Yung mga nasa tapat yung nagpo-protest, yung mga taga-UP. Pero it's nice to see that Ateneo does it also. Speaking as a Lasallian, by the way. So, yeah. I get you. Lisa, let's start off with, let's go with you now. I mean, like your origin story as well. I'm curious to see, because we're a bit of a generation apart. And I are from the same era, sort of. We probably touched film. But then I'm not sure if you have as well. Could you tell us a bit about how you started
Geela
out?
and I kind of have the same origin story. It started when I was in the university. I wasn't part of the student publication, but I joined the photography organization.
Yeah.
But before that, I was taking up accounting.
Yeah,
and I realized that like an office setup wouldn't be very ideal for me.
Yeah.
And then
Numbers aren't as pretty.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I switched to journalism. So when I was doing photography and I was taking up journalism, it made sense for me to pursue photojournalism. And yeah, I'm particularly interested in documenting stories on environment, on women. and general news as well.
How are you, Anna?
In contrast to Geela and Lisa, I'm not a photojournalist. And I actually didn't want to be a photographer, honestly.
Really?
When I was still in university, I was like, I had a photography class, but it didn't really speak to me at that point as something that I could really do. But then when I realized that you could use it as a tool to tell a story, like to document, that's when I really started becoming passionate about it. But more on like personal stories, I do personal narratives. And I also document other people. I like photographing drag queens, as seen in my work also. And a lot of the photography work that I do comes from like a personal introspective space. So, yeah.
You mentioned that you photograph drag queens. You love storytelling at the moment. Is there any particular story that got you hooked into this particular line of work?
Well, it started actually when I was having struggles during the pandemic because I didn't know, like I can't go out and shoot, and I'm not a photojournalist, so I don't really have access to that.
Yeah.
And then I started sort of digging deep into the story that I want to tell. And then a lot of the story that I had back then was about me and my struggles in being confined at home. And then it really started with that. And it really helped also to have other people guide you and help you shape the story that you want to tell. And that's what really got me hooked into it when it became like a tool for me to document my life and what I'm feeling and sort of like put like a visuals to the struggles that I have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you mentioned the internal struggles, and actually that leads me to one of your pieces of work here. Because if I'm not mistaken, you did work on women who live in coastal communities, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Yeah, and when you take a look at that, it feels like a very specific struggle. It feels like a very specific mode of storytelling. And first of all, how did you encounter things like that? And why do you feel like those particular struggles of a very specific subset of women are worth highlighting?
Like for me, it's because I really expose myself to communities of activists. And when you visit these communities, you're really gonna see the stories on the ground and the real life, daily Filipino struggles. So I particularly was interested about the coastal communities and the lives of women, because usually when we think of coastal communities, we think of the men as fishermen. But then these women, let's say the wives of these fishermen, they also contribute so much to the fishing sector. They're the ones who do the accounting, they're the ones who take care of the kids, they're the ones who allow these fishermen to go to the sea because of the invisible care work that they do. So they're still part of the whole process of like making of bringing food to our tables. And it's just so important to talk about the stories of women, because these are invisible stories that we don't usually see, especially in production.
I love that you're using the term invisible stories because it's such a visual medium. And of course, we saw a bit of the work there a while ago, and you can see what they're all going through. But Lisa, talking about we talk about invisible stories, but then you're also encouraging more women to become photographers, to tell stories a bit more. And you're actually part of a couple of groups, Diversify Photo and Women Photograph. Can you tell us a bit more about those organizations and the thrust?
Diversify Photo and Women Photograph are international organizations catering to BIPOC and women and non-binary photographers. So they're creating database for photographers, not just photojournalists specifically. It can be documentary photographer, fashion photographer. So it's a database where editors can have access to reach out to these underrepresented photographers for work. They also provide community workshops and, for example, if there are grant applications, they provide waiver for the fees. And yeah, it's just a community where photographers can reach out to other photographers globally. And
I don't think photographers realize, or people who want to get into photography, photographers do realize this, but people who are looking into photography don't realize how much of a collaborative experience it is actually learning and learning styles, learning techniques, and just how important is that in those particular communities. You mentioned underrepresented. You mentioned those out there who are trying to, I guess, upskill themselves or put themselves out there. How important is it to be part of a community for those who want to get into photography, but then thinking, oh, I gotta learn by myself first. I need all of this or that, or baka YouTube University might be enough.
I think nowadays it's not much on the technical skill, but the support that photographers seek in these communities are, for example, how much should I charge? What's the standard day rate? So because of these organizations, like we have this space to discuss these issues that we don't usually have access to. Plus, there are mentorships available in these organizations. So there's an annual application for mentorships, and it's really a nice space to have because you can really ask anything about photography, about the technical skills. But yeah, of course, the technical skills are still important. But having the space to navigate the industry itself, the financial aspect, especially nowadays, photography, most photographers wouldn't survive with just photography. It's important to upskill, do video, do writing, and take on other jobs outside of photography. For example, I also do I recently take on a job that's completely not related to photography, and there's no
Accounting
shame.
related?
Fortunately, not.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, but and there's no shame in admitting that you're trying to find other source of income outside of photography to supplement.
Kasi hindi na uso yung starving artist, diba? Yes. I mean, like, I don't know, that was a term during our time, back in the early, mid-2000s, but then, of course, that's not the case anymore.
Age reveal.
Oh, yeah,
Era reveal.
The reason why we're saying young, kasi we're all still young, okay? But let's also focus on the fact that you have had an international workshop recently, I believe Angkor Wat. The Angkor Wat workshop in 2024. Can you tell us a bit about that experience first?
It was really crazy. Actually, I met Geela there
oh, really?
2 years ago when I went.
Okay.
And then
was she crazy back then, or?
Yeah. Well, she was pretty.
She said yes.
it was like photography boot camp, like I would say, because you had to like be on assignment every day, and then the feedback would be instant because you would get feedback that very next day, and then everyone would hear, and then everyone would see the photos that you took.
Yeah.
But it was a very interesting experience, and something that I hope more people get access to, honestly. Like, we need to do more of those things because really, like, even if I've been working as a photographer for a couple of years, it was really different. It was really eye-opening.
Yeah.
And then the mentors, it was really such a privilege to be mentored by such highly regarded photographers in the industry, and then for them to give my work the time of day, and then for them to give me feedback. It was very interesting. And I think it's something that I'll carry with me, like, in my practice in the years to come.
It's so reflective right now, actually, of the current state of how people consume media. Na napaka-immediate yung feedback, na there's no hiding it, what people think.
Yes.
And people think that they could hide behind a keyboard or their phone because, their faces are not necessarily seen. But when it comes to that, I think that leads in perfectly to my next question, because we're going to go very vague here and talk about yung state of photography dito sa Pilipinas. I remember a few years ago, a particular brand, which I won't mention, actually had ambassadors selected, and there was not a single woman on that particular batch. I like how you were like, naalala ko yun. Yeah, we all remember that. To the point that some of the ambassadors backed out when they found out that there were no women as part of that group. I don't know if things have changed since then, especially when it comes to women photographers, or whether they're more represented now, and of course whether or not their works are more seen. Where do you think we are now?
Well, I would say that at least it has progressed a little, in a sense that there are women photographers. Really, it's really more of who gets these jobs. So. It progressed in that sense. If you would compare it maybe to like 10 to 20 years ago, it's not as much. So at least there's some visibility now. But the same issues still persist, like low wages for especially for local photographers, and then still issues of safety, harassment, because these are still very common to women photographers. So even I would say it has progressed a little, but there's still so much work to be done.
Some people look at photography, and at least outside looking in, they don't feel like it's a gendered job. Outside looking in. But then when you look at the industry being part of it, do you feel that it is maybe skewed towards more male photographers in terms of preference, or do you feel that the female photographers are able to progress just as well because of the merit of their work? Sorry, napakahirap yung tanong. But, kaya mo yan.
Definitely, there's progress. I think I remember there was a job posting before in a local publication when they were hiring photojournalists, and it stated there that preferably male. So
Preferably male?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think it exists nowadays, and the aftermath of that brand ambassadorship incident, it sparked conversation on who gets highlighted and who gets not just recognition, but I remember there's another photographer, Claudine Dancel.
Yes.
After that incident, she created a database of Filipino and non-binary photographers, and I think everyone could like contribute and like share like who they who should be like who should be shown as well.
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of trailblazer photographers, women and non-binary in the Philippines that deserve more recognition.
And you're the one who reacted most violently to my to my reference from that particular incident. So where do you think we've gone since then? Because it was a moment wherein even those who weren't in photography actually realized, hey, parang may mali dito.
Yeah.
And when you look at particularly, there are so many Filipino photographers who are so accomplished and have done so much, and yet they weren't part of. Not even mentioned, or not even a small part of it. Where do you think we are now?
It's so interesting that happened, because a lot of people after that are more mindful. So they try to at least include women photographers. But it still happens. It happens still, actually. Like, there are some workshops where it's all male photographers. But when it comes to what I do, it actually helped me because, like, some people, since I work in fashion and portraiture, some people actually prefer to have an all-women team, but you need to be championing for that. Like, you need to be in a place of power to really champion for that and to really request that female and non-binary photographers get the jobs that fit them. It doesn't necessarily have to be women all the time. Like, if a guy is a better fit for the project, then that's fine. But just have equal inclusion for all genders, I think. But it's way better.
You mentioned it that there could be moments where there could be all women photographers. There could be moments, rather, all women team.
Yes.
That's obviously. I don't think it happens that often.
Yeah.
I think it is possible though, considering the skill sets already out there. But the state of the community though, do you feel that it is? If it is artist driven, especially, do you feel that the women now have a bit more of a platform to stand on compared to what we had a few years ago?
Yeah, I mean, as Geela mentioned, we've come not so far from that, but at least there's a bit of progress because people are like now more aware that, oh yes, we have to be more inclusive, and people are calling out these brands that are not really that inclusive and exclude women. We have a list here of a few female photojournalists, especially those who really shine during the drug war from a certain period. And I believe after the recent arrest of President Duterte, a lot of photographers from that time came up with their old reel of work. I was taking a look at the list, and a lot of these photographers actually are not just photojournalists. I know this because one of the names I want to mention is Hannah Morales. Yes.
She shot me for a sports shoot for the New York Times, and the next thing I know, she's shooting the drug war, and also she was at National Geographic, if I'm not mistaken. And then you also look at Eloisa Lopez, you also look at Alex Oncal, Kimberly De La Cruz. When you have women like that who are able to show variety in their work and also do work that really contributes to community or contributes to storytelling and even pushes certain social conversations that need to happen. Just how important are figures like that for female photographers?
First of all, I would just like to recognize that these photographers like Anne Asis-Morales, Eloisa Lopez, Kimberly Cruz really paved the way for younger photographers like us. Because it makes us realize or makes us feel that we can do it. Because I remember when I was younger, there was a specific instance when I was still a campus journalist. I was literally pulled by a man, like drag, because I'm super tiny, super petite. So men could literally just grab me. And it's really really hard to do photography when you're a woman. But you remember these women, you remember that these women were able to do it. And they have their own distinct voices as well. So it just reminds me that it's really important to assert your space in spaces that you feel are a bit strange or foreign for you, especially if it's male-dominated. And it's important to have those voices because I feel like the experience of being a photographer in a woman's body is really different from the experience of a photographer in a male's body. Like, we consider a lot of things differently because we're women. So we think of stories differently. Like, I feel like, let's say, for example, you wouldn't exactly think about the perspective of let's say, going back to the stories of the coastal communities, you wouldn't think of I feel like you wouldn't really think of where the women are if you're not a woman. You would, I feel like someone who has a perspective of a woman would immediately think about where the women are in these stories. And that's why it's important to have women figures in the industry, such as Hannah Reyes, Eloisa Lopez, and Kimberly Cruz.
Yeah, how about you? I mean, like, because she mentioned all of that, seeing things through a lens of a woman, if you know, using a camera pun. But when you take a look at the fact that your work actually also revolves around children as well, and seeing it through their eyes, and obviously it feels something different that perhaps predominantly male photographers won't be able to tell a story as well. How important is it that, just piggybacking on her line of thinking, that we have a different sets of lens, especially with female photographers out there, telling versions of the story that probably you only see?
Yeah. I think whenever I go into communities, especially most of the time, it's always the mother and the children who would welcome me in their houses. And being a woman, they usually perceive me as their own child. And I think it's not, I don't want to center it on being a woman, but I think a big part of it also is a person's character. Like, it could also be a male photographer who would be entering people's houses. But I think since it adds to me, like, whenever I try to get access, whenever I try to be as sincere as I can, not just hi, I'm a woman, please let me in. But yeah, since like the gentleness, there's a different approach, I think, especially in the younger generations of photographers and photojournalists. It's not just the hard news, it's not just the actions. Hannah Reyes tend to portray the tenderness. It's always in her pictures, and I think she's one of the photographers I really admire. Hannah Reyes, Morales, Eloisa Lopez, and yeah, these women showed us this there's other approach to photography rather than just action shots or
there's a story, the iba talagang storytelling nila when they put things to frame. And we're, you know, I wish we could have a podcast because we needed all that time. And bilang ate ng grupo, kasi magka-age tayo almost there.
May age reveal.
May age reveal. Age reveal natin, 98 tong dalawa, okay? Si Enna, we're of the same range. Pero let's wrap it up with this because it feels like there has been more support for female photographers. They're supporting themselves as well. But what do you think needs to be done to support them even further, to support female creatives, not just photographers, because it is a team. You know, it is a team effort, especially with certain shoots. What do you feel needs to be done to really level the playing field totally when it comes to female photographers and creatives?
First, I think more local grants. I mean, not just for female photographers, but for everyone, for every artist who wants to try getting into photography, doing a project where they don't have funding, access to that. And also, I think something that would be very important for people who want to pursue like studio work, which is really where most of the money comes from when you do commercials. It's really nice to have access to equipments and like more equipments available for loans, especially for those who can't afford it. Because it's really expensive. Photography equipment's really expensive. And then it's so hard to find your photographic voice if you don't have like the money to rent out all these equipment. So it would be nice to have more of that. Some brands are already doing it, but of course you need to have like it's not that open for all yet. It's a bit exclusive.
The accessibility is not quite there.
Yes.
And that needs to be addressed. All right, ladies, it was such a great time talking to the three of you. For those who want to see your work, follow you guys and see more updates. We'll go one at a time from this side to there just so you can promote yourselves and your work. Where can we find you?
I'm on Instagram at Geela Garcia.
Geela Garcia?
I'm also on Instagram at Lisa Marie Dav, and also my website is lisamariedavid.com.
Right. And Ennuh?
Website coming up, but I'm on Instagram. ENNUHCHEW.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, these are the photographers or voices of the women that we have here today. Geela Garcia, Lisa Marie David, and Ennuh Tiu. So, thank you so much for joining us. And we cannot wait to see more of your work online and hopefully maybe have some printouts here one time soon to discuss it even more. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, so when we return, I'll be able to speak with Ms. Anne Asis, the founder of Communities Organized for Resource Allocation, or CORA, about marine conservation. It's a beautiful day. We'll be right back. Welcome back. You're still watching It's a Beautiful Day. Now, this is the Weather HQ segment of it, where we talk about our oceans, which cover about 70% of the Earth, face critical threats from overfishing, pollution, and climate change, endangering marine life and the millions who rely on them. The future of our oceans and our planet depends on our bold solutions as well. Communities Organized for Resource Allocation, or CORA, empowers communities to protect natural resources and promote sustainable ocean conservation practices. Today, we're joined via Zoom by Ms. Anne Asis, the founder of CORA, to share her vision for sustainable ocean-friendly future and the exciting projects that CORA is leading. Good morning. It's a beautiful day, Ms. Antoinette. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning, Paolo. Thank you so much for having me. I'm truly grateful to be here with you today to talk about something I am truly passionate about, but something that is so crucial to each and every human being, lalong-lalo na sa atin sa Pilipinas.
You know, you mentioned the passion. I feel it. I see it in the work that you do sa CORA. I want to start off first, not talking about CORA, but then where this started out for you, yung origin story mo, why it became a passion. Because it takes something big, distinct, to be able to make this an advocacy and to exert so much time, love, and effort into it.
Thank you so much for asking that. I'd like to give you the quickest version that I can, but CORA actually is named after my mom, Cora, who really lived a life in service and charity of people and everyone around her who needed help. And me, myself, I was looking for some opportunity to just give back in any way that I could, and even in the simplest way, by volunteering. And because we found it a little difficult to find easy volunteering opportunities with friends and family, we decided to just do little events on our own together. And from there, within a year, from just committing to being consistent once a month, we ended up turning into a nonprofit organization that I actually never thought would ever happen. It was something that was unplanned and that happened organically because of people that we were pleasantly surprised and overjoyed and blessed that we found out ang dami palang gustong sumali, marami palang gustong mag-volunteer. And so we're very grateful that because of that, and now today, because of the support of not just private sector partners, but by various government institutions, for instance, our partnership right now with the French Embassy of the Philippines, we are getting support from other countries for ocean conservation right here in the Philippines.
You know, you mentioned the term volunteering. Volunteerism in the country is something that I personally feel is a bit untapped. The opportunity is not quite there, and here you are providing the opportunity to actually volunteer for an advocacy that actually calls them to be young leaders to have more active roles in ocean conservation. You take a look at the role of the youth in particular when it comes to engaging them and in terms of volunteering in something as critical as ocean pollution, plastic, marine pollution. Just how important is their role in the conservation efforts?
Well, in everything that we do at Cora, from our food rescue feeding programs to coastal cleanups, tree planting, and even the circular economy recycling initiatives, the youth are involved in everything. And not just the youth, of course, women and youth. I know earlier you were talking about women empowerment. And so these are goals that are truly important to us at Cora. Inclusivity, making sure that everyone is included, not just in the solutions, but be able to participate and are able to lead. And you actually said something very important, which is the youth actually have a very, very important role to play in conservation, and not just in conservation, in building a better future for all as a whole. And so through the work that we do at Cora, we provide opportunities for youth, for schools to be able to take part in our programs, children, youth of all ages. And we are also working now directly with our youth officials, so particularly the Sangguniang Kabataan. So they are the ones really taking the lead in shaping policies and really working together with local government units to build a better community, a more sustainable community that can actually thrive even amidst climate change and everything that we are facing today.
You mentioned the youth. You actually have a project called the Youth for Oceans. How does that work?
Yes, so this Youth for Oceans initiative is actually the one that I mentioned with the Sangguniang Kabataan. Because when we think of the youth, we know that they are not just the stewards of the earth, and of course that will be inheriting everything that is here, but they also are a source of so many incredible ideas. And not just ideas, they have that energy and that passion to use their voices, to take action, to push these missions forward. And so through the Sangguniang Kabataan of Parañaque City, we launched the Youth for Oceans initiative. And this is funded by the French Embassy to the Philippines and Micronesia. And this is actually supporting youth and oceans to ensure that our youth leaders not just have the voice, but have the opportunity and the platform to really bring their ideas, their policies, their recommendations to the forefront. And of course, for our leaders to take them seriously so that we can do this together.
It's so great that you're actually collaborating with an embassy like the French Embassy. Of course, another campaign that's part of that collaboration is the 100 Days for the Ocean campaign. Now, when we talk about the 100 Days for the Ocean campaign, what is the main thrust of this when it comes to creating lasting change here?
Well, to celebrate the 10th anniversary of the Manila Call to Action on climate change, a milestone moment for the French-Filipino partnership at the international stage, last February 26th, the Embassy of France to the Philippines, I was also actually there, launched a mobilization campaign as we gear up together on the way to Nice. And that is actually 100 days from that date, Feb 26th, less than 100 now. And this new call to action gathered partners of what we were just talking about, the Blue Nations Initiative, France and the Philippines, Partners for the Oceans. And this campaign is what you said, called 100 Days for the Ocean. And this is also because the UN Ocean Conference is taking place this June and is being hosted by France, particularly in Nice. And so this is something that the Philippines and France are united in as maritime countries, believing that ocean stewardship and conservation is crucial to a sustainable future.
Yeah, we talk about the conservation of it, and it is so apt and so timely that we're talking about this, especially when we come to talk about, let's talk about plastic pollution in particular, especially the Philippines having a big issue with that, one of the biggest producers of plastic waste in the world, and yet here we are, one of the most affected countries in the world when it comes to climate change, when it comes to ocean pollution. Just how important is it to at least start at a grassroots level, which is what you're trying to do with your volunteers, with the young leaders, to try and address this as early as now, or maybe a bit too late, but address this to try and make sure that we can have an impact on the battle against climate change?
Thank you so much. That is a very, very wonderful question, and there's a lot to unpack there, but I'll try to give you different sections of this answer. First, I would like to take it on the serious level that sometimes is a little bit more intimidating, but we're very grateful we have youth leadership in creating these resolutions that can move us forward. And so once again, in Youth for Oceans, we're doing everything from citizen science through our coastal cleanups. We're donating recycling bins to schools by working with schools in Parañaque City. All 16 barangays will be receiving recycling bins. And of course, this is also in partnership with the Department of Education. And when we really take it now to a grassroots level or to an individual level, as citizens, you and I together, even as volunteers, as human beings, what can we do? On a daily basis, small actions truly do count, from bringing your own reusable tumbler everywhere you go to avoiding single-use plastics. Now, let me give you some quick numbers. Sadly, in the Philippines, the World Bank has determined that every single day we consume and throw away up to 163 million sachets. And so, of course, we look at how we can avoid single-use plastics, but we also look at the plight of vulnerable citizens, and of course, those that every single day are working very hard just to make ends meet. And we really truly believe that tingi-tingi culture is something that is unique and genius to the Filipino people and also existed way before plastics were invented. And so tingi-tingi is really not the issue, but really just looking at more ways that we can contribute, and for businesses to create better delivery systems, better packaging systems, so that we can more realistically participate in these solutions as well. One final thing, as I remind you about your reusable tumbler each day, that's one of the easiest things and the first things that I did. Just by bringing your own reusable bottle every single day, each year you are already helping prevent up to 1,000 plastic bottles from ending up in the trash, in the environment, or in the ocean. So small actions count, and of course, all the way to our youth being able to lead with policies and resolutions.
Ms. Antoinette, I really wish we had an hour more because I have so many more questions, but we are running out of time. Just really quickly, for those who want to reach out to you and to Cora to try and contribute and make a bigger change, how can they do so?
Thank you so much. Well, most especially right now through this Youth for Oceans initiative that we are doing with the French Embassy to the Philippines, you can join us for our coastal cleanups and for our citizen scientist activities, recycling and circular economy programs, whether you are an individual, a volunteer, or a school, especially if you are an SK Youth leader. You can reach us through our social media channels at Planet Cora and at We Are Cora, all the way from Instagram to Facebook and more, and our webpage, www.wearecora.org.
Ms. Antoinette, I'm going to hold up my partner's reusable tumbler in honor of you and the efforts that you are doing. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. And there's yours. Yours is a lot bigger and probably more efficient. But thank you so much for joining us. We hope to see you in person sometime soon to talk about this in person. Thank you so much for joining us.
That would be amazing. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Now, right now, that was Antoinette Taos, the founder of Cora.
Now, after the break, we'll have a discussion about caring for pets amid the intense heat these days. Stay tuned, you don't want to miss this. It's a beautiful day. We'll be right back. Welcome back. You're still watching It's a Beautiful Day. A trigger warning for our viewers. Now, the story is about animal violence. A Chinese national who made the headlines for allegedly kicking a cat to death in Makati has been arrested. The Immigration Bureau says the 32-year-old Chinese national was arrested in Barangay Palanan Thursday for overstaying. The Bureau's records show Jiang Shan has not extended his visa since he arrived as a tourist in May of 2023. They add the Chinese national was unable to present any documentation upon his arrest. He is now detained at the BI's facility in Bicutan while he faces his deportation case. Now, on to some lighter news. It's not only humans that are dealing with the intense heat lately. Our furry friends and pets are also struggling with the extra hot temperatures. Now, how can we care for our pets during humid conditions? Let's find out. Joining us live via Zoom is Stephanie Bautista, head veterinarian of Vet Home Service. It's a beautiful day. Good morning, Stephanie.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, it's great having you. Now, Stephanie, it's been so hot for all of us, and our air conditionings can barely keep up. And I can only imagine it's worse for our pets since they have a fur coat, essentially, right? So what are some of the signs of heat strokes in pets, and how can pet owners prevent them from happening?
So that's a very good question because it's very important for our pet owners to know the signs of heat stroke so that they can give medical attention to our pets immediately when they see signs, because this is a potentially life-threatening condition. Now, the first signs of heat strokes would be excessive panting or yung masyadong mabilis na paghinga, where they can have open mouth breathing, tongue out. They can also see signs of drooling, weakness. Rare cases, they can vomit and they can also have diarrhea. And then also, at worst cases, we can see collapse and seizures.
You know, Stephanie, I have some of my friends who have rooms made especially for their dogs with air conditioning, or kung wala mang air conditioning na katapat sa electric fan, especially breeds like Siberian Husky where they really need to be kept cool. But in this heat, especially without air conditioning, how can we keep our pets cool? And not just the dogs, the cats as well.
Yes, so there are a lot of ways to keep our pets cool, even if you don't have aircon in your house. So one thing we can do is we can always provide fresh, cold, or lukewarm water, always, so keep them hydrated. We can open the windows to let in some ventilation. Pwede po natin itapat sila sa fan, just to make sure na yung fan is nagbubuga siya ng malamig na hangin. And also, we can provide cooling stations sa house where you can put wet or damp towels sa floor, and para po meron silang sa mapuntahan when they feel when they feel hot. And also, if you have tiles, pwede niyo po silang ilagay dun sa coolest part of your house so that they can just be away from direct sunlight.
Stephanie, you mentioned giving cold water to your pets. I read an article about this actually, that it is not safe to give your dogs cold water, especially if they have been running around. How true is this?
Yes, exactly. We can't give them immediately when they're after exercise, because too much cold water can actually cause digestive upset. So after exercise, just give them lukewarm water because they can drink too fast sometimes after exercise.
Now, Stephanie, speaking of exercise, is there a specific time of day that you recommend for pets to walk or exercise?
The best time for walks ngayong tag-init is early morning. So that's around 5, 6 a.m. And then we skip the midday, we skip the afternoon, and then the next time for exercise is around late afternoon or early evening. So beyond 6 p.m., pwede na po ulit silang mag-walk.
Now, Stephanie, I also see so many pets out in cages. So is it safe for them to keep their pets in cages, or should they be bringing them in the house?
It's all right to be in cages as long as they're not in direct sunlight, but it's best for the pets to be inside the house where they can be cooled down and where they can be away from the heat. Because even if they're not there's no direct sunlight, the pavement can still cause heat and bring it up to them, and they have no way of cooling themselves down because they're inside the cage.
You know, Stephanie, what I do with my baby, I call my dog baby, my baby, I always have yung fur niya trimmed, like summer cut siya palagi. Just to, well, in my head, I'm thinking that I'm helping my little one, keep cool. But does this actually work if you shave their fur or trim it often?
It depends on the breed. So we have dogs that have double-coated breeds. So when they're double-coated, they don't really need any trim down anymore since their coat can provide insulation and can regulate their temperature. So double-coated breeds like the Husky, the Malamutes, the Pomeranians, they don't need the trimming down. But if you have, let's say, Shih Tzus, their hair can go very long. So a summer cut would be good for them as long as they're not shaved down completely because they still need fur to keep them away from the UV sun rays.
You know, another reason why I also have my little baby's fur trimmed to a summer cut all the time is I try to prevent the, growth of ticks and fleas, which is actually accelerated in hot weather. Di ba, Doc?
Yes, that's true. That's
So
true.
what else can we do to prevent our dogs or cats from getting fleas and ticks, especially now that, it's been so hot lately?
Yes, it's true. The ticks and the fleas, they love the heat. So they come out and they bite our dogs. They can cause disease. Now, with tick and fleas, we already have commercial tick and flea preventives. We have oral tick and flea preventive that they can take monthly or every 3 months. We have tick and flea collars. We have spot-ons. We have sprays that we can do. So visit your local veterinarian so you know what's best for your dog during the summer season. We have to keep them updated on these things because this is potentially, they're vectors, these ticks, for diseases that can be potentially life-threatening. Also, after walks, you can inspect your dog's fur if you see any ticks or any fleas. If you see ticks, don't crush them, and instead put them on alcohol so they can drown. Because if we crush them, eggs can come out.
Now, I know we're talking about our pets at home, but I want to talk about something, unfortunately, is a prevalent thing here in the Philippines, stray animals. Because I'm such an animal advocate. So what can we do to help stray animals? It's so hot. So should we leave some ice cubes for them or should we leave some treats? What do you recommend we should do?
So for dogs outside or cats outside, the best thing that we do is provide shade for them. So sometimes they're out on the street, they can't find shade. It's best if we provide some shade on our own homes so they have somewhere to rest on during the hot season. If we can provide them with fresh, cold, or lukewarm water, that's also good for them. And also, if you can have fan outside, that's also good. So somewhere that they can just release heat.
Now, if we see our pets collapse or a stray animal collapse and they become unresponsive due to the heat, what should we do?
Yeah, this is an emergency already. So when we see our pets collapse, when we touch them and they're so hot, the best thing that we should do is to bring them to the nearest vet clinic. But before that, the very first aid that we can do is put them on a shaded area. Kasi possible po nagka-heat stroke sila kasi they were on direct sunlight. So put them on a shaded area. If they can still drink water, give them water. And then on your way to the vet clinic, we can already give some damp or yung basang tuwalya, put them on their bodies, especially on their belly, their armpit, their paws, or their singit. These are the best areas to keep cold para po mawala sa katawan nila yung init. But the vet clinic is the best po talaga para ma-monitor sila during their cooling down.
Yep. Well, thank you so much, Stephanie, for coming this morning and giving us these great insights. It's been a crazy, crazy hot time of the year. Ladies and gentlemen, Stephanie Bautista, the head veterinarian of the Vet Home Service.
Thank you so much.
Now, eto na! What do the stars have in store for you today? Let's go find out from our resident energizer and feng shui master, Hans Kua, in our horoscope of the day. Take it away, Master Hans!
Good morning! It's a beautiful day with Master Hans Kua. Ito po ang horoscope for Friday, March 14. Para sa mga pinanganak ng Year of the Rat, gamitin ang araw na to para sa pagpaplano ng career growth. Red at 6. Kay Ox naman tayo siguradong kompleto ang oras ng tulog. Green at 1. Kay Tiger naman tayo iwasan ang matagal na away. Mas mainam na pag-usapan ng maayos. Yellow at 9. Kay Rabbit naman, tapusin ang mga pending na task para gumaan ang trabaho. White at 3. Kay Dragon tayo, planuhin ang pag-manage ng finances para sa stable na future. Silver at 5. Kay Snake naman tayo, pagtuunan ng pansin ang quality time kesa quantity time. Orange at 8. Ito naman! Kay of the Horsey maglagay ng lucky coin sa wallet, pandagdag suwerte. Gold at 2. Kay of the Ship naman tayo, uminom ng tea tsaa para chillax after sa mahabang araw. Green at 1. Monkey naman tayo, wag matakot, subukan ang bagong challenges. Purple at 4. Kay Rooster naman tayo, magtipid at mag-ipon sa future expenses. Pink at 9. Kay Dog naman tayo, panatilihin ang consistency para sa mas mabilis na progress. White at 7. Kay Pig naman tayo, magandang panahon para mag-invest sa sarili or sa education. Pink at 7. Ako po, si Master Hans Kua. Paalala lang, ito po'y patnubay lamang. Ang tunay na swerte ay nagsisimula sa pagiging totoo. Abangan ang horoscope of the day dito lang po sa It's a Beautiful Day!
Thank you so much, Master Hans Kua.
Now in fashion, world-renowned designer Donatella Versace to step down as Chief Creative Officer of the Versace brand after almost 3 decades. This comes amid reports that Prada is moving closer to a deal to buy Versace from Capri for nearly $1.6 billion. Miu Miu's Dario Vitali is set to take over Donatella's post while she takes on a smaller role as Chief Brand Ambassador at Versace.
Newport World Resorts is staging the Delia D, a musical featuring the works of acclaimed songwriter Jonathan Manalo. The star-studded production will run from April 25 to June 8, 2025 at the Newport Performing Arts Theater. Tickets are now available at Ticket World, Helix Pay, and Newport World Resort box office.
Barbie toy maker Mattel pays tribute to Filipino folklore with its new doll. It's named Corazon Marikit, which is inspired by the mythical creature Manananggal. The doll wears embroidered bat wings, traditional Filipino fashions and accessories, and can actually be split into 2. Corazon Marikit is available on Mattel's website and is priced at $75 or around 4,200 pesos. Ooh, I want one.
Wait, you guys have to tell me what a manananggal is.
It's a mythical.
I don't even know what that is. Barbie is ahead of me. I didn't even know.
It's a Filipino mythical creature of an old lady, and then she splits into 2.
Not necessarily old.
She's not old.
Pwede palang not old. But kasi in movies, they're always like mga lola.
She looks
right?
like Batgirl in a Filipiniana.
So
like with a nice outfit.
So at night, her body splits into 2, and then she gets wings, and then she flies.
Manananggal ba yan? Is that the one that eats
oh my God,
fetus?
that's so scary.
Yung ba yung kumakain na fetus?
Yes,
or?
yes.
So
she
it eats fetuses?
Yeah, so she eats fetuses with a tube that goes into the womb.
Yeah, with their tongue,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
with their
no,
tongue.
like
Yeah.
Hold on. Why is Barbie making a doll of Manananggal?
Exactly.
That's what I want to know.
It's amazing.
No, I'm just like,
it's
what?
Celebrating Filipino folklore.
Yeah.
I love it.
Why not the white lady?
Because that's so simple. It's just going to be a doll wearing a white outfit.
So you know what the white lady is? It's a ghost, okay? So Manananggal is
it's a Casper and girl version.
Super Pinoy. But then, okay, so how do you kill a Manananggal?
But this is actually, you put salt on the half,
Yeah,
on
you
the
put
bottom
salt.
half.
Are they real?
And
body.
garlic rin ba? Or salt lang, diba?
Salt,
yeah, just salt.
Yes.
Just salt to the bottom.
So that it won't unite anymore, the 2 halves, right?
Is it real? Mamaya, tignan natin.
I don't see a lady that with like bat wings cut in half. Oh my God.
I don't know. You know what?
Actually,
I feel like folklore is actually based on something that is real.
So explain a flying woman at the second story of a...
I don't know.
That's why with the cut in half. Like, that's so
It's so hard to
scary.
explain because in our house we have a capre, so you know, I don't know.
That's a big guy.
We're like
Yeah, that smokes on the roof.
yeah, yes.
But honestly, I'm giving props to Barbie. The Manananggal Barbie doll looks amazing.
Oh, I
And her
want one.
outfit
If
is
they're gonna give
amazing.
away like samples of this,
If they look like that
I'd
in
love
real
to have
life,
Yeah, pero kapag linigyan mo ng asin, mawawala. Sayang
Lagyan mo
pera.
ng-
Salt Bay, wala.
Salt Bay.
Salt Bay is safe from the Manananggal.
All right, so that is it. For those who are interested, kindly provide Mo with a doll from Mattel of
Please.
Manananggal. That's it for us this Friday, March 14th. Ako po si Paolo del Rosario. Thank you so much for joining us.
I'm Anne Asis-Carilo. Quick shout out to our Lift Clinic family. Hi, Doc Sai Agan and Jan Conadera. And catch me on Mellow 94.7 BFM later at 11 a.m.
Where we can catch you, Mo?
Where can we catch me? Catch me at home sleeping. So I'm also going to work on my Manananggal and learn more Filipino folklore. So I'm Monique Tuzon. Make sure to send me more Filipino folklores my way. I hope you guys have a great weekend ahead. Join us again Monday at 7 a.m. to 8:30 a.m. only here on
It's a beautiful day.